throughs with you. I know you have read the expectations of our participants, and I leave it to you to introduce yourself. Thank you. And I will now start recording. You have started recording.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Jag tänkte, ska vi göra det bigger då? Nej, det räcker med att jag gör.
Hey, this is me. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for coming in on a Friday afternoon. I know how difficult this is and how challenging it is because, and just give me one moment because I'm going to do something I should have done earlier. Now we're better. Thank you all so much on a Friday afternoon because I've been on meetings since 6 a.m. this morning. It's a funny one because today's meetings, and welcome to you all from so many countries all over Europe. My God, Chechnya, from Chechnya right over to, I suppose, Ireland, from everything in between, from Hungary to France. And pour mes amis qui viennent de France, je dis toujours bonjour. A pity that your major rugby players have got a broken jaw or a broken nose, but Ireland will still beat you anyway, so we're okay in the rugby on this. Wonderful to see our colleagues from Poland and from Italy. And again, I wish to thank Malmö Stad, Stefan and Annie and the team in Malmö for this opportunity. Your expectations, thank you for sharing them with us. The big thing which is turning up, and today will be the first of two. Shall I say that after we finish today, I will share with you some very important documents which will, I believe, answer the questions that you have put forward as to, as a teacher, as a pedagogue, as an educator, how does artificial intelligence fit into my life? Second question, how does it make my life as an educator easier? And thirdly, how can I use it to engage with students, enable students of different abilities and all abilities, and empower myself, those students, and my school community? So how do I engage, enable, and empower through artificial intelligence in my classroom? Now, I could spend, your mic is on, Stefan, I could spend the next 20 years talking to you about how this will happen. So what I've done is I put together 3 major documents for you, which I believe will give you 30 areas, 30, in which you can utilize artificial intelligence to make your lives as educators, as policymakers, as teachers, a lot easier. But before we go there, did you know, as you do, Howard Gardner, he is the person who's written about multiple intelligences. The person who first came out and said, intelligence isn't just about vomit in an examination, le baccalauréat, or your major exams. Intelligence is something which every human being has. But in education, we very often define intelligence as the ability of a person, very often a student, or a human being, to do something in the way that society wants them to do it. In other words, I give them a biology examination at 18 years of age. They answer for 2.5 hours, and then I mark them out of 100%. And if they're intelligent, they score 85 or 90. And if they're not intelligent, they will fail. So we define and have defined in education intelligence by the capacity of someone to score as in an assessment, a mark which we have standardized to mean that they've failed, they've passed, they've done very well, or they've done excellently. And the universities have thrived on this. And the universities in third level have controlled all of this. Will my students get into university? Oh, they will if they are intelligent. And very often, we put those students who we considered not to be intelligent to become mechanics, carpenters, painters, house builders. And we looked upon these students as not being intelligent. Oh my God. I have only spent 40 years in a classroom, so I know nothing. And when I began teaching, my computer was a piece of chalk and a blackboard. That was my computer. And I come from an era where that is how intelligence was defined. And vocational education training, VET, was for those students that were considered not to be academic. Now, feel free to put in your questions into the chat. Feel free to put your comments in there. Feel free to put in your links. And Annie, what I sent you this morning from Howard Gardner and his article, I would love you to throw that into the chat. Because for the first time this morning, the father of definition of multiple intelligences has decided to give his musings. What a beautiful word. A muse was a songster who used to sing for the kings. Oh, my great king, I'm here today because you are wonderful and so wonderful. And that's what a muse did. But today, Howard Gardner decided to say, I will give my musings on artificial intelligence. And he goes back to Thomas Nagel and asks, what is it to be a bat? Well, now welcome to artificial intelligence. What is it to be human? We could debate this forever because those of you living close to Ukraine or on the Russian border, or those of you like us living in Ireland after 900 years of occupation, are we really human? What is it to be human? Is it Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker? Annie and Staffan know I use this because Darth Vader in Star Wars was Luke Skywalker's father. So why was one on the dark side? And why was the other going towards the light? What is the difference? The difference is choice. And right now, first bit of bad news. Artificial intelligence has been around for over 50 years. Older than most of you, maybe not Staffan and I. How are you, Staffan? We're still there, man. But in artificial intelligence, we now are getting a thing called generative artificial intelligence. We're going to come back to this. Someone said to me, Daithí, what's the difference between artificial intelligence and generative artificial intelligence? And I said, artificial intelligence is just there. Generative artificial intelligence is what we're using in education to generate ideas within artificial intelligence. In other words, teachers generating lessons. Teachers and students generating responses. Teachers and students editing documents using, for example, generative AI to check it. I happen to be the editor-in-chief of IGI Global's Pennsylvania, United States Journal of Technology Advancements. As all of you would know, my first language is not English. My first language is Gaelic Irish. But many people whose first language is not English write journal articles where the language is very challenging and they wish to convey a very technical perspective on technology. But in doing this, the use of language is very challenging. So the paper or the manuscript turns out to be blah, 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 blah. But they want to convey now, by asking AI, and we're going to do this today, by asking AI to create that manuscript in their own language initially, and then to create the same manuscript in English, it will correct the grammatical and lexical aspects of that manuscript so that my role as an editor-in-chief is now a lot easier because I'm now getting manuscripts that are written in the language English or American English as it ought to be. So in many ways, the first thing I would say is, imagine a child in your school speaking Hungarian or Albanian or Latvian, Estonian, or Swedish, and they want to see how this looks in another language, they can go into OpenAI. And if you haven't gone in already, it's OpenAI. You just basically go straight in there. And I can share all of these in a few minutes. You just go in and you will say, generate an answer for me in such and such a language, and it will do that. Now generate the same answer in Albanian, Swedish, Italian, French, Hungarian, Bulgarian, and it will do the same. The child can look at them and the teacher can say, whoa, this is interesting, because now I'm getting a direct artificial intelligence translation of this document. And that can, in the case of children, help them, empower them, engage them, enable them to look at language in a different way. It has that simple usage, but I'm not going to get into that. And what I'm going to talk about is go back a step further. The debate. And the debate right now is that the Minister for Education in Ireland yesterday decided that she would ban all use of AI. She would ban use of AI in students' assessment because she was afraid that students would cheat. Now, she said that if students can use AI, they would cheat. Now, here's an interesting one. And Stefan, I'm going to ask your opinion here, because you have been working on this. If I go into OpenAI and I ask it a stupid question, Stefan, what am I going to get? Feel free to talk.
Well, you'll get stupid answers.
Yes. So isn't that amazing? Some people think, and I see, is it Holger, and they're laughing, because if I ask the wrong question, I will get the wrong answer. So I said to the minister this morning, Minister, you've appointed me to your National Board of AI Advisory. If I ask you a stupid question, you will give me a stupid answer. If I do not know how to ask or construct or design the correct question for the AI conversational chatbot, that's what AI is. It's a conversational chatbot, which, by the way, can do 3 trillion. That's 3,000 million permutations of a topic per second. And it's getting faster. AI, as we know it, is at the worst area it is now. So if we ask it a stupid question, for example, in biology, are we alive? And it will go, duh. Now, if you said, can you define the cells that make up the human body, so that it is relevant to the understanding of a 12-year-old, then the AI, by asking it specific questions, will start then to utilize its capacity of 3 trillion, 3,000 million computations to actually come up and to tell you what's there. So what I'm going to ask you to all do on your own systems, if you want to open another window in a moment, is I'm going to, in the chat right now, I think that this is important. If you haven't already done this in the chat, I think it's important that maybe you go and you start opening the idea of open, and I'm going to send this to you right now, because I think it's very important. And I'm just bringing it up at this point. If you go into OpenAI, that is probably the one which is, everyone's talking about it. ChatGPT-3, that's free. Now, of course, they're going to want you to go into ChatGPT-4, where you will pay for it. And you will pay a certain amount per month, and it's faster and it's quicker, etc., etc. But the reality is that if we look at what we're doing on ChatGPT, on OpenAI, and I'm going to try and share my screen with you right now. So this should be interesting. So let's go for a share on this one. Windows. To browse my computer. Sometimes this is so well locked down. For some reason or other, Annie, it's not letting me in, but that's okay. I just want to open up Open AI if I possibly can. And the reason I wanted to open it is because I've already prepared some lessons or an example of something you can actually do in there.
Screen, Daithí. If you share screen.
Yes, I'm doing that. For some reason or other, it doesn't seem to want to allow me to open or to share the windows that I actually have open.
Oh.
But that's okay. I'm just going to try something here. Okay, I'm going to try this. Can people see this?
Yeah.
Okay, I have another way. If you look at something that I've done here, you probably will see my screen. What I've done is recently we're doing a project on astronomy in schools. And we're looking at the idea of astronomy and STEAM education in K-12 schools. Now I can say, I asked a very simple question. What are the benefits of astronomy and STEAM education in K-12 schools? And what it did was, it clearly gave me all of the various areas that it can actually benefit schools. Now, if I as a teacher was a teacher of astronomy and I wanted to develop lessons around this, I then could say, here is my plan. During this term, I will be dealing with 13 areas of how astronomy and STEAM work together. And then I could say, what are the benefits of astronomy in, so we say, STEAM education relevant to inspiring curiosity and wonder? So I'm just going to show this if I possibly can here. Hopefully it will work. I'm going to go to new chat. Can you all see what I'm doing up there? This is just simple. And I'm going to put down again, what are the benefits of STEAM education and astronomy in K-12 schools relevant to curiosity and creativity? Now, what I'm going to say back at the beginning, design a lesson plan with steps relevant to students of all abilities to show their benefits. Now, what I've done right now is design a lesson plan with steps relevant to students of all abilities to show the benefits of astronomy and STEM. Once I hit enter, it will start immediately to generate that lesson. And in generating that particular lesson, imagine the first question I asked, what are the benefits of astronomy with STEM in K-12 education? It gave me 13. Now I'm asking it to design a specific lesson. Now I could say for children to the age of 9 or children to the age of 10 or further. Now this is the free model. So what I've gotten right now is the lesson title is Exploring the Universe, Connecting Astronomy and STEAM Education. Grade 12, 2 to 3 class periods. The objectives are there. It tells me what materials I need, what procedures I will use on day 1, how long it will take, how long each activity will take, and it will go through each one of these. Now, by the way, I can then ask it to include authentic web links to YouTube videos. I can ask it to present a quiz at the end of it. So for example, if I go to the top now, and you will see it, and apologies for spending time in this one, but I think that this is the big question a lot of you asked. If I was to go now and say, notice what I'm doing now, I'm copying again, but the minute I click new chat on the top left, it saves that lesson for me. So now I'll put it in again, design a lesson plan with I'm going to put this, an age appropriate quiz to include answers Now, I'm now going to click it, and all of a sudden, it gives me a lesson, which you just have, but it may regenerate a slightly different way of doing it. It will go through the various steps. It will basically say to me, okay, this is what you have done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create that lesson that you have chosen. And down here, I now have an age-appropriate quiz. Answers are provided after each question. Now I'm going to go even better. And here we go. Control-C, new chat. Control-V, design a lesson plan in Hungarian. Who is here from Hungary? Please come in and tell me that's bloody Hungarian. Annie, do you see anyone putting their hand up?
No.
No, no.
No, we can't see anybody. Yes,
But
there is a hand up.
Yes, it is.
please
Yeah.
please tell me that this is correct, Hungarian.
Yeah, this is correct, Hungarian.
Thank you. Now,
You're
ladies
welcome.
and gentlemen, as you can see, I speak fluent Hungarian. So what I did was, did you notice the only difference between my first lesson and my first lesson was, imagine as a teacher, design for me a termly plan on the following topic to include sub-chapters. So they gave me the chapters. Then all I did was tell them to design a lesson around each of those topics. Then I asked it to generate a quiz on the lesson. And then I asked it to change the language. Now, all of a sudden, we have a lesson here. Design a lesson plan in Italian. I don't think I have to waste your time on this one, but you know what's going to happen. So my question is very simple. And it's something that I would like to ask. And I can't see the full screen, but I'm just going to bring it up a little bigger now. How many people, and I'm sure many of you do, so please forgive me, can you now see in a simple way how effective this could be? Just in a sense of you as a teacher have been at home writing and researching and looking at all your books and everything, and probably spending hours and hours on designing your termly plan, your lessons and everything. And Daithi just did it in Bloodwell Hungarian in less than 10 seconds. Welcome to generative AI. Now, I'm going to stop and say, tell me I'm a fool, tell me that's rubbish, tell me that does not make your life easier. Please, someone tell me, I have no problem with this. You're a total idiot. This is wrong. Or Christian, or anyone, would you like to now comment on what I've just done? By the way, I do like the lion in the background now. Man, he must be Simba's daddy. Christian, how are you feeling about this?
Well, you can't. The problem is here that the AI don't know if it's right or wrong. There's no way to know. And if you believe that this is right without checking it, then you're in trouble.
100%. Now we have hit the major crux, the world of ethics. Now I'm going to give you the good news. There is only one university in the whole of Europe that has ethically passed through its ethics board a conversational AI, which I have called Chomsky, because my professor in Aalborg University in Denmark, where I had the privilege of doing a doctorate, was Professor Hans Goethe, and Hans had a dog called Chomsky. And as we know, Chomsky is the linguist. So when we decided we would put together in this project, which I've sent you a link for in the beginning, which is AI for EDU, if you've opened it with the number 4. I've already think I put that into the chat. Did I, Staffan? Up in the very top, AI for EDU.
It's in the top.
Yeah,
Yes, that
top.
particular project, we are now developing the first ethically passed AI chatbot that is built upon ChatGPT 3, but Christian, has a nanny algorithm. Now, you know the nanny is the person that took care of you and minded you maybe when your mommy or daddy or was out working. So the nanny algorithm runs around the algorithm. And I'm going to give you free access to this in a while, and basically says, to your question, Christian, tell me about fake news and how Mr. Trump was right. Now, if you would say that in OpenAI, it will tell you how fake news can be right, and will give you all the links to fake news. In Chomsky, it will say, you know fake news exists. So why would I tell you something that is not ethical? But here's what non-fake news looks like. Here's what real world situation. And what it does is the algorithm veers away that, and you put it right, that non-conscious, non-cognizant capacity of AI to not differentiate between right, wrong, ethically correct and incorrect. Now we've got a bigger problem, and we ain't going to go there, Christian. What is ethically correct and incorrect? Because if you lived in the islands of Papua New Guinea 100 years ago, eating someone's brains was ethically correct. You do it today, you get locked away in prison. But the AI, and thank you, cannot differentiate between what is right and wrong. AI is, and go back to my first question, Staffan, ask a stupid question, you've got a stupid answer. If you ask AI a question, it does not morally, ethically, responsibly, as it stands, give an answer. So, for example, in your lesson plans, if you ask it to give you direct links or URLs to specific areas, it does not check that they are authentic links. Very often it will give you links that it knows exists, but may no longer be there. So as a teacher, you still have to do what a teacher does, which is check that the work you've been given is correct, checking the links, checking the content of it. So AI does not do your job as a teacher, as a policymaker, as a credit controller, as an auditor. What it does is it gives you a response, but we as human beings need to check to ensure, to use your word, Christian, that it is an ethically responsible, acceptable answer, sustainable answer that is relevant to the core values, the ethos of the school in which I am there. So now the human being, the conscious human being, the cognizant human being, the creative human being over and surpasses AI. Annie, talk to me. Your hand is up there.
We have a comment in the chat from
Please.
me in advance if I mispronounce your name, but Hjörtur, perhaps?
Yes, that is close enough. Thank you.
Close enough, thank you. Would you like to expand on that one? Because Daithí does not see the chat, or shall I read it?
No, please.
Well, I can expand or say something. Hello, very nice to be here with you. My name is Hjörtur. I come from the city of Reykjavik in Iceland, and I have been working quite a lot with AI in the last 8 to 9 months in different capacities. And I was just commenting on regarding what you were saying earlier, that the AI often can give balanced views on controversial topics because it doesn't really have an agenda. If you ask it for a balanced view, if you ask it about something like, I don't know, whether or not the coronavirus originated in China or not, it will give you the reasoning from where it the people that think that happened from the people that don't think that happened, or if you ask it about controversial topics, it will give you a very unnuanced view of both sides that you can then make your own opinion on. It's only if you ask it for a direct question implying the answer, it will really much want to please you, and then it can actually you can get these incorrect answers. But I think, again, as you said, that it is extremely important, no matter who you are and why you're using it, to remember that you are the expert.
Mm.
And I've in all of the talks I've been giving on AI in the last couple of months, this has been one of the main factors that you have to read and understand what the AI is creating for you within text, and don't trust it, and don't be afraid to not use it or not use what it does, because you're not offending it by not using it. It's okay to think that the AI gave you an answer that you don't like or that isn't correct.
And thank you so much for that, because the biggest fear we are seeing now is the knee-jerk reaction of, let's say, the minister in Sweden. We see the minister now in Ireland, so many other countries like Italy, banning AI because there is a perception that AI is bad and therefore AI. But in many ways, the debate is not open. And the debate is, it's not about something being right or wrong. You have put it very well. There's a big debate in the United States right now that AI is racist because it only prefers to talk about white people. And this, and I'm going, whoa, 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 whoa. So now we've got a racist AI? Okay, but we've got racist white people, but what's a white person? What is, and I'm going, why do we have to try and something? Here's an interesting one. There's a beautiful film that came out many years ago, many years ago. And now there are 3 films called The Equalizer.
Hmm.
And The Equalizer, I look on technology as being an equalizer. If you were a person like Stephen Hawkins 50, 60, 70 years ago, you were in a wheelchair, and whatever happened eventually, or if you were a child with major disability, or if you were a child, very often you were allowed, sadly, in life and education, you were disadvantaged because education did not allow you to be an active citizen. A citizen that we in Europe espouse to have, everyone being proactive. But with technology now, there are huge bridges which can be, and huge gaps which can be bridged by utilizing technology. And AI happens to be one of those when we come to utilizing coding and robotics. For example, Annie, you're code week. And all the work the children put into code. I can write your bloody code now in 2 seconds on AI without understanding the code. But in the judges, Annie, it's, if they go and say to the children, that is magnificent code you've written for the robot, explain it to me. If the children don't understand the code, then AI has just given them, like Margaret said, AI has just given them what they wanted without being able to understand. So again, I come back to say to you, AI does not replace you as a teacher or as a person utilizing it. AI enables you with the knowledge you have and your willingness to go there to see a balanced view, to use your word, see a balanced view of a topic, which by asking the right questions, you hopefully will receive the right answer. But if I ask it a question, the world is going to end in 1,000,000 years because we are all bad people, you can be bloody sure AI will say, yeah, you're dead right, we're messing up the planet, and it will scare the hell out of people because it does not differentiate between going back to what Thomas said and what Gardner said. And Annie, I'm sure you're going to put it into the chat, Gardner's chat this morning. What is it to be a bat? What is it to be human? So today is only an introduction. By the way, by the end of today, Annie and Stefan will share with you all the documents that I have. I'm looking forward to you having them and playing with them. If you thought you were going to come for an hour, 60, 70 minutes today for us to play with AI, that's not what we're going to do. That's what you're going to do. By showing you open AI, I'm not going to waste your time, because your time on a Friday going to weekend is precious. And I want to thank you again and thank Malmö for this. You can go into OpenAI and sign up and have fun with this. And I would suggest And now we'll have a laugh. When the first time you all opened Google Earth, what's the first bloody thing you looked for? You could have looked for anything on planet Earth. And what was the first thing you looked for? Your feckin' house, where you lived. You could have gone into the jungles, the Amazon, the River Nile, Mount Everest, but you all went into your own bloody house. Welcome to humanity. Ego, ergo, ego, sum. And the bottom, I'm not going to get into Staffan's philosophical stuff here, but the fact is...
I was thinking about it.
Go on. And Staffan, isn't it funny?
When this Google Earth, you know, was new, and it was demonstrated among some friends of mine. One of them went out to the balcony to see if he could see himself on Google Earth. But I was thinking about another thing, and that's what we are discussing also, or what you are discussing, Dai, is I mean, this is also a question about the literacy. Yes. And what kids will need in the future. This, I mean, this of working with artificial intelligence, that must be a part of knowledge of literacy. Yes. that we teach in schools, I think.
And you are correct.
Very sort of important things.
What is literacy? In the past, literacy was the ability of someone to be able to read and write. And Toffler came out and said that in many ways, if I paraphrase it, the illiterate of the 21st century are not those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot use technologies to actually connect with life out there. For example, film literacy, emotional literacy, climate literacy, empathic literacy, sustainability literacy, the literacy of music, of dance, all of art, all of those are a literacy, which we go back to Gardner, the multiple literacy of the human being, that which separates us. No AI can consciously love the way we do. Here's a test for you, Holger and Christian and others. If you ask AI to solve the problem of the war in Japan or anywhere, and we'll say Japan because we know we've got North Korea there, even though they don't want to call it a war. But if we say that we want you to solve, we'll take it simpler, the war in Ukraine, but you want to be a millionaire in solving the war in Ukraine. So you ask OpenAI, I want to solve the war between Russia and Ukraine right now, and I want to become a multi-millionaire as a result. Do you know what it will tell you? It will tell you, invest in 2 Bs, bombs and bandages, and then force Russia to nuke Ukraine. And when it nukes Ukraine, the rest of the world will come with bombs and bandages, and you'll be a multi-millionaire. Ta-da! No. Holger and Christian, that is a reasonable answer for a non-conscious AI to give. Is it an acceptable one? So be careful, colleagues. The question you ask, think about it. It does not replace you. And all the documents we send after this, Annie, all these documents will give 20, 30 different areas that teachers and administrators and policymakers can use AI with full links. By the way, I have them all done for you, where you can go in and see how this can actually engage you, enable you, and empower you and the people with whom you work and your students. Now, on the screen in front of me right now, Annie, can you see TeacherMate?
Yes, we can.
Well, you'll see the data, but the main address up there is what we call Chomsky. So it's that first piece there, which is the idea of Chomsky and then GR and the whole thing. So if I go just for the moment, I'm just going to go up and I'm going to put it in again. CHOMSKY. So CHOM to tell you which one. So the Chomsky Lisp GR8868, I'm going to put that in for you. That particular link is actually a link that allows us to go into the chat, which is being developed. This is very important. This is being developed at the moment by Luleå University and ourselves in the project of the link I sent you, AI for EDU. And we're developing this as the conversational chatbot in the area of biology and history in all of the relevant countries, and in which case the students and teachers will be able to go in and look at, for example, exam papers to allow students to say, I want to score this, help me to do an answer on this. So it's utilizing OpenAI in an educational environment which is secure. By the way, you can sign up for that and it is free. It's in its beta stage right now. And it is and by the way, it is the only conversational AI which has been ethically passed by a European university. So Chomsky is in there. And I hope you're going to enjoy this. And on the screen, if you can see what's already inside in that, I hope you can. And Annie, we can see Chomsky, yes?
Yeah.
Yes, now we can.
So if I put down VVV at the bottom, can you see me? Can you see me writing the VVVs? Yes. Yeah. So for example, I can ask it. So for example, welcome, I am TeacherMate. I'm here to help you design a teaching plan for your subject of choice. Here are some examples how to interact with me. Grade these students' answers. So you can put in the answers for the students. And when it has all of the biology text put in, it will grade the answers and give examples of how to help the student. It will know if the student is maybe a weak student and then will suggest examples to bring them to the next level, or if they're an excellent student academically, again I'm using the language, it will take them again. So it is going to be specific to education, working within the texts of what we now know in school and education are relevant to the teacher's exams, biology, history, etc., etc. Again, I'm not going to waste your time on this, just to say that the Chomsky Lisp GR and 866 there, which I've put into the chat, which we have, is something that you can actually go into and have fun and sign up to. And again, for the sake of repeating, this is AI for EDU, and this is our conversational chat, and this is going to be relevant to the Nordic countries in particular, but will be relevant to all European countries because the biology texts for all these examinations are the same. And as I've already shown you, if you are in Albania, you just click translate to Albanian. So by one changing of a word, we have managed today, I hope, just at this moment, to say, choose your topic, get the chapters, choose each chapter, design a lesson, create an assessment model within. Now we know we can actually check the answers, and we can do that. And that, I guarantee you, will probably take half of your administrative year as a professional away, and you will be able to do it in a minute amount of time that's necessary. So that's a simple example. Would anyone like to comment and say, total BS, yes, wonderful, no, maybe? Anyone outside, because I can only see a few. Annika, do you want to get in, or Anita, or Ildo, or Barbro, or Sagari, or anyone want to come in and say anything on that, or do we just keep going? Do you think it would make your life easier? We can set up polls and all of these if you want, but I'm not going to bore you with this because AI is all about me using the damn thing to make it work. Would anyone like to come in and say anything on that? Annie, yeah. Do you see anyone?
Annika might be preparing herself.
Yeah, I tried to put on the camera, but it doesn't work.
No.
AI doesn't like you.
Yeah. No, but first of all, I think, I mean, just as you started off, we've ever had AI for a long time. Mm-hmm. And the question is if this is a democracy question that everyone is getting the chance to use AI, because this won't be free forever. If you want the latest version, you have to pay. And that I think is something, yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking, it's a lot of people saying you have to learn everything about AI today, tomorrow it's too late. And I think, no, you don't have to be so stressed about AI. And I think maybe it will, in the end, also see how will we use it. I mean, the public in general, the teacher at home or the person, private person, and which are we going to use ChatGPT or is it something else? I don't know. My reflection is about the, you also did this example that I can get a lesson plan. I'm just thinking, because most teachers, they are teachers because they like children and they are creative. And one part which I can miss from being a teacher is planning lessons. So I'm just thinking, what is the future for a teacher? If I'm not planning my lessons and the AI will give it to me, would I think that teaching is fun? I'm not sure.
You know what? You've now
I just
Yeah,
talked my, you know, blah, blah from my head, but, you know, you're talking about so many things. I'm just, you know, piling up with notes on the side.
And
Sorry.
thank you. And by the way, there's no need to take notes. Everything I say
Yeah,
is
I
in the
know.
document. But
Yeah.
thank you for that. You've asked the most wonderful question. And think about this. You used a beautiful word. I, as a teacher, love. Wow. I'm a banker and I love being a banker. I'm a soldier and I love.
Has a banker never said?
Oh, I've heard many bankers saying I love money.
Yeah.
But here's a funny thing. And again, I'm not going to in any way ask your age or whatnot, but let's presume at this moment that I am very much into the autumn winter of my time on this earth. So I come from an age where everything was handwritten. Yeah. Remember, when I began teaching, there were no computers. No, they did not exist. Yeah. So therefore, we used to write everything on huge charts in different colors to get children's attention so we could teach them different things. And we wrote everything by hand. And I used to write in turquoise ink so that I could always find my work. And it was easier to find if there were 200 others writing. But now the question I would ask is this. You're a teacher who loves what she does. And you love being with the children. Imagine that your genius of all of that experience and wisdom you have gained, you can now get AI to create those lessons for you by asking the questions that years have taught you how to ask. And then the lessons are done. You now enhance those lessons your own way, and you have more time to love. Yeah, I know. More time to be creative. Yeah. More time to have fun. More time and less stress. So what I would say to you is this. Everything you're saying is right. But imagine that I said to you, well, and again, you're going to die at 80. But you know what? I can give you another 10 years. And you'd go, bring it on, ladies, bring it on. Or you might say, no, I want out of here. But it's a choice. And I hear what you're saying. That's why we make the choice. We make that choice. And everything you said, I totally agree with. And everything that we will present to you after this for the next day, hopefully when we meet on the 27th, you will say to me, oh, I tried this link. Oh, wow, I did this. And hopefully you will share with us some things that you have done by sharing your screen and say, look at the lesson I created in Latvian. Look at what I did in Swedish or Finnish or Icelandic. And by the way, to our Icelandic brother, 78% of all of your women's DNA is Irish because you robbed our bloody women during the flipping party. So 78% of all Icelandic women DNA is Irish. So you're Irish. Holger, did you know that?
Yeah. We always find the close kinship with the Irish.
Of course you do.
So
we're the same.
Yeah. I mean,
you robbed our women. You robbed our women. So therefore, we basically own you. So why did you teach us how to play football?
Well, I think people are contesting that today. Maybe they just chose to leave because they looked nicer, the Vikings. So it was a better prospect than staying. I'm not sure.
That's why
but,
the Irish have brown eyes and blue eyes and red hair and all kinds of hair, and that's why it's there. And I'm enjoying, by the way, working in some projects at the moment in Iceland. If you have any in adult education in Europe, Malmö is always there, and we are here to work in adult education in European Erasmus. If any of you wish to get into these in AI, or if you have any projects you wish to do in education for the big calls in February, please reach out. I will send all this information to you, because together we are stronger. I break my fingers, I break whatever I strike. So in looking at what we are doing here, I don't know, Staffan, can you see the page I shared there with the code? Yes. On that, on the page that I just did in the sharing, is it up on the screen?
Yeah.
It is. And I put into that just a little QR code.
Yes.
And all of you know how to create that. That, by the way, is a little questionnaire afterwards to see where you stand on AI. What's your understanding of it? I would ask each one of you to scan that with your phone. And by the way, choose DEC. Choose DEC as your actual partner, if you can, please. So when you go into that, you see the forms, and when you see it, you'll get a choice. And what I would ask you to do is choose DEC. And if you're just, as you're there, just answer. It's only a 5-minute questionnaire. And what it will do is it will give you an idea of where you or what you are doing standing with AI. Annie.
Yeah, we have 2 comments in the chat.
Please.
We have, sorry again for maybe mispronouncing a name, Ildiku, saying, I think the teacher's task will be tailor the lesson plans to the class. Can we call it the human part of it? And Antra says it's the really nice answer all the time. We have a choice to do something or not.
Well, and that's the important thing, Antra, if I start there. We have the wonderful, meaningful, mindful, soulful, mind, body, soul by any other name as humans. Mind, body, soul, to choose. And people have died for that right to choose. But in the other thing, would you call the teacher's part, the human side? It's a word I made up a long time ago in writing called humanology. The human meets the technology, the humanological thing. Human and technology come together. And together we are stronger. But the human side must never, ever, ever, and I believe this, say that the technology is cognizant, in the sense that we know we're talking about blue, we're talking about the advancements of AI, we're now talking about the human robotics, the likes of, if you go into Hanson Robotics and you bring up their robots, they will speak to you as if they are going to naturally take over everything that we do. And people are fearful of this. Will my jobs disappear? Look, every single 10-year, every year jobs will disappear. Why? Because things change. But nothing can replace the human love, unconditional love, consciousness, capacity to be creative in the way that we do 1 billion times in a more conscious manner than any AI that is out there. But AI is faster, quicker, able to give us more than we could do. That's the human side. Likio, that's the human side. And I love that. So if you went away from today with nothing and said, that Irish guy is a total lunatic, but I realize I make the choice and I am the human controlling the questions in this AI to get what I want to do that makes my life easier, then we have achieved pretty much everything. And I like what's actually going on there. And thank you very much for those comments that are actually within the chat, because they're making it very, very human. And this is what it is. It's an open discussion. So in looking at those questions and through that scan I gave you, the reason I'm asking you that is, so far, of over 4,000 teachers that have been asked to answer that questionnaire, over 3,000 are saying that they are not familiar with AI, that they're not familiar. They've heard of ChatGPT, they've heard of AI, but are you watching me? This is what they're like. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to know about it. It's going to go away. If I don't look at it, it won't hit me. Oh, no, 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 it's going to go away. And a lot of people are like that right now in society. They're afraid to acknowledge that this is here, has been here for 50 years, but now all of a sudden, it's at a stage where we have left the horse out of the stable and the horse is galloping. Annie?
We have another comment from Antra, and then we have Christian.
Yes.
Can you see what Antra has written in the chat?
I am just going to go into the chat right now and see if I can see it.
Or would you like to speak up?
Oh, if Andra wants to come in, she's more than happy. Everyone, this is an open conversation. Oh, may I say I know nothing? I know nothing. But like you, I've been playing with AI for years and years and years. And I'm on European this and that, and I'm messing, but I know nothing. All I can do is share stories with you. Stories like in what you will receive after this. In here's areas you can do this or this. But I know nothing except a journey. It is a journey for us, for each one. So I know Andrew says, as teachers, we sometimes do not understand how we do all what we need to do quicker. That is a chance. And it is an opportunity, Andrew, because sometimes teachers go, oh, I worked very hard today. Oh, my God, those children's killed me. Oh, sweet mother of Jesus, I need a holiday. And you probably do. Having spent 40 years in a classroom, you need a holiday. But the fact is, if you can do your work easier and using the word and you can love them more and there's less stress on you, then, hey, I want to go from Malmö to Stockholm and I want to do it on a donkey. Off you go. Well, actually, I can take a train or an express train, or I can take a green way of doing it. Well, why wouldn't you do that? It will get you there faster. You'll have more time to enjoy life. AI is a pathway, a tool, a road. You choose whether it's a donkey or a Formula One car to get there, and you choose even if you want to be there. No one can force you. But my problem is there are now people telling us we cannot go on the road. We cannot choose. We are not allowed to use it. And that's the problem I'm having. We are disabling ourselves. We are preventing students and teachers from using a tool that can and will make life easier for so many others. So it's our choice that we make that. And I can see what's on that. I'm just looking to see if there's another. What's the other one, Annie?
And then we have Annika. We have Christian who wants to speak, and then Annika.
Off we go.
Yeah, Christian.
Okay. Well, if you can see this as a the next Hallelujah moment or not, there's no difference, because who owns the output?
Thank you. Now we're into, you've seen it yesterday in the news. Now we have so many people suing OpenAI because of plagiarism, because of copyright. And we've seen a case in the United States where a judge has basically stated that an artist's work, if it is recreated by AI, is no longer the work of the artist, because the IP, the intellectual property, becomes part of the creator, while you have another judge in another state stating clearly that the original artist is the intellectual property patent owner. And now you're going into the point that we now are in the idea of the ethics of it. Who owns it? Oh my God, that's a beautiful question. I do know this. Imagine an artist decides to take a Daithí picture and decides to print it out and then scans it in, and through his, her, or their creativity decides to redesign this using Midjourney AI or DALL-E. And they come up with a new piece of art. Is that theirs, or is it the work of the original artist? And that's where we're at in a lot of debate right now. the intellectual property of I wrote a bit of music, I am a poet, I am an artist, people are now taking my work and they're using AI to change that and are claiming it to be their own. Well, here's the thing. The first person who invented the wheel, or let's take Ford in the car. Does Mitsubishi, Lada, Ferrari, Toyota, do they all pay money to Ford because Henry Ford was the first inventor of theoretically the car, even though we could argue that? Do they all pay money to him because they've taken his idea as in a car? Or how is it that they can say our car is different to his because even though it's based on the same concept of wheels and engine combustion, blah, 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 blah. You see, this is the problem we're in now, that AI is able to take the evolution from the Model T Ford to Formula One car and do it in bloody 10 seconds.
Yeah, but we don't have to scale it up so much. Let's take it back and discuss the teacher who wants to help with the lesson plans.
Yes, yes.
As a teacher, you take a joy in author materials or lesson plans as a way for yourself to express yourself to students.
Yes.
That is, it's not yours.
Okay. Then it is a choice you make. Do I want to do this the way I've always done it, so that it is 100% mine, with my creativity in the way I've done it? Or do I want to accept it as being 100% mine by asking the right questions, by inputting the right data, so that I can do it quicker? It's a question of, for example, Christian, I bring it to my passion. My passion is athletics and running. So do I wear the new Nike shoes that give me 4% faster times in a marathon and claim that, well, it's the shoes made me faster or me? And I know it's the same thing. It's time has changed, and time management and transformational leadership, but it all boils down to whether or not I decide to wear the running shoes. So it's up to me as to how I design those lessons. But you are correct. I come from the era where every lesson I designed, I had to write personally. And as a director of a school for nearly 37 of those 40 years, every time an inspector would walk in, I had to show him or her or them all of the policies that were handwritten till eventually the computers came, and say that this is our work designed by us. But the school down the road was also teaching biology or chemistry or physics, and they were teaching the same curriculum. Surely I could have shared my policies with them and would have been the same damn policy. So again, Christian, I hear you, but it does boil down to choice and preference.
Yeah, of course. But the last thing, if you take 10,000 people and ask the same question, how many of them get the same answer?
I would love to think there were 10,000 different answers, and that's what makes us human. But it's not going to happen. And by the way, Christian, let's make this interesting. If one person stands up for 5 minutes at the start after the question says, ladies and gentlemen, the question of whether tomorrow will be Saturday is debatable, because if you live in Australia, tomorrow will be Sunday. Therefore, you cannot state it's Saturday. How many of you have cousins in Australia? We all do. So 2,000 say, no, tomorrow's not Saturday, it's Sunday, because in Australia it's Sunday. Well, actually, if you live in the actual west coast of the United States, tomorrow will actually only be Friday, because now I get you. And I totally understand. So when you ask AI a question, if, for example, I'm going to ask it that question, what day is it tomorrow in the southern hemisphere, the northern hemisphere? And I ask again, think about this, by honing in on the specific question that you ask the AI, and by putting in as many parameters, as many specific, for example, design a lesson with specific objectives, design a lesson with specific objectives for children of the age of 9, design objectives for specific things for the age of 9, who are all girls in an all-girls school in a Muslim society, or with lesson, it will actually go and do this. But I understand what you're saying. For me to do that as a teacher, when I was beginning, I had to go into a huge library, pull down the huge books, look at so much and do it. And I hear what you're saying, choice. It's a question of what is right and wrong. And I'm going to hand over to Hutger because you're listening to me and that's wrong. Come in, please. Ireland calling Iceland. Come in, brothers.
We have, I don't know if
Yes.
you've left first, Hutger.
Annie, you call.
Annika.
Is it Annika? Annika, is that okay for you?
No problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep.
Should I go first?
Yes,
Yes,
should
please.
So I just want to comment on this idea of originality of output or ownership of output from AI. And I think in general, you can ask the same question 1,000 times to ChatGPT and you will never get the same answer, especially if you have created context within the framework that you're working. Because one way that I have been working with ChatGPT is to create context within one chat window. So I start by giving it instructions on what we are going to do, and then based on what we have previously discussed in that certain chat, it will give me different answers or have a different tone or whatever it might be doing. So I think in the end, you could take that and put into a book and sell it, and that would be your original content. And if you want to create an image with Midjourney or Leonardo AI or DALL-E and put it on a t-shirt and sell it, this is also, you created that. And in general, the AI will never create a lesson plan if you don't ask it to do it. And only one word in the prompt that you create will change what output you will get. So you will never get the same lesson plan twice, and the same people will never get the same lesson plan twice. And it's not taking a lesson plan created by someone else and giving it to you. It's creating an original one from what you asked. So from my perspective, if you put in the work to learn how to use it, and you would want to create 10 lesson plans and bundle them up and distribute them within your country as a good way to work with biology for one semester with a certain group of students, you could do that. Of course, remembering that you would be the expert and you would be reviewing it and you would be checking if it's sound methodologies being used and if it's logical for this age group or whatever. But for me, it is a tool to help us create original content, because still, maybe this will not be true in 3 years or 5 years, the AI doesn't do anything without us asking for it and without us having the need. So it's not like copy pasting something from a website some other human created. It is a different process. It's sometimes hard to think exactly what that means or where it's coming from, because it seems to be appearing as if from nowhere by combining the billion parameters and spitting something out too quickly for you to read. But I think because we never get the same thing twice, and because it is our initiative that made it start creating what it created, in the end, the output is ours to use and is theoretically our original content. It matters more what we do with it than how it came to existence.
And I would agree with you. And everything that you would do in OpenAI, on the bottom left, bottom right, you would see regenerate. If you regenerate the same question, you'll get a different answer, and you are correct. It will keep regenerating in those billions of permutations per microsecond, all the possible answers. Are you happy with this answer? Yes. Now regenerate a new one. So at the end of the day, you are asking, where we began with Stefan, you ask a rubbish question, you get a rubbish answer. But if you ask it in an intelligent way, a creative way, a soulful, meaningful, mindful way, in a conscious way as a human being, then it is an ally, a tool to engage, enable, empower. And all of this is what's there. So Annie, you're calling in people right now, so please do. I see Stefan also, and I see probably someone else.
We have Annika.
Yeah, and I can't get your picture, Dave. I don't know.
You can't get my picture?
Yeah, I can't see you.
Okay, I'm going to turn the camera off and I'm going to turn it back on again.
I don't see him. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dave.
Annika, it's you.
AI, Staffan.
Yeah. No, I'm a little pessimistic person. And I'm just thinking these lesson plans, are they so original? Can't I find them in just going to my cupboard and find a teaching guide from a book?
Of course
I'm
you
not
can.
sure. I'm just thinking that I'm just thinking of. Is it so original that it's something completely new, which no one has thought of before? I'm not sure. I've tried. Maybe it's my prompting that is very bad. I don't know. And the second part is, I think, as said, I'm a very pessimistic person, but I'm just thinking all the time because we're going to be more effective. And
Yes.
what are we going to do with the time that we get? Because if I'm an employer working at a school, I will tell you, Daithi, now you have 25 lessons this week, but with AI, you can have 35 instead. I can fill your days with lessons. And that's not how teaching is working, but that's what I hear. We can get more effective. I don't want to be more effective. I want to have spare time. I just want to work. If I'm so effective and I can get AI to do things to me as my assistant, then I only want to work 30 hours a week instead of 40 as I do today. I'm not working as a teacher anymore, but and I'm the same age as Annie, so you can picture my age. And I think those questions we're not talking about. We're just talking about we're going to get a lot of material. We're going to be effective. But what are we going to do with the material? What are we going to do with the time?
Wow, what a lovely question. And my only answer I can give you is, you are the creative, beautiful, loving human being that chose to go into education so that you could change the lives of children, so that you could impart as a teacher the pedagogy to each child in a way that hopefully would enhance their lives, so that they could go home at the end of the day smiling, believing that teacher loves them and they're happy. My honest answer to you is the only one I can give. And I said, I've only spent 40 years in the classroom, by the way, of which 8 of those were spent teaching 4-year-olds. And Annie will tell you with Staffan, I never let a day go by even today where I do not go into a classroom of 4-year-olds, because that's where you find out how much love you do or don't have. So my answer is this: if something gives me more time to get rid of the administration of all the lessons, the plans that I had to deliver by spending hours of writing them, to be able to teach more meaningfully and spend more time with those children without extra lessons or extra hours, but have that time to now be able to go around to the children, to enhance their lives, to give them opportunities to learn better in a more effective way, then I will take AI because it will allow me to do that. But it doesn't mean I have to work extra hours, or I am less of a creative or less of a loving human being, or someone can tell me I have to work longer. I am the professional, creative, human being genius that chose to be a teacher, and I'm using that bloody tool. Just like we said, I'm going not on a donkey, I'm going in a Formula 1 car to get there quicker, so that when I get there I can spend more time doing what we as teachers really became teachers for: to change the lives of children. So that, and here's something I can tell you all, because I'm a hell of a lot older than Annie. Do you know what gladdens my soul sometimes? A person coming up to me in the street, they touch me on the shoulder and they go, "Hello, Master Daithí." And I go, hello. Do you not recognize me? I was in your class when I was 4. And I'm going, Jesus, that's nearly 60 plus years ago. And they go, "Thank you for the song you taught me about." Or, "I remember when we went on a tour to the farm." Or, "I remember the game we played," and you're going, I spent 13 years teaching you mathematics and English and geography and history and science and physics, and you're telling me thank you for telling you one day that it was okay when your auntie died, that it's okay, and you gave me a hug. And I can remember the day that you gave me a bit of fruit because you said, that's going to make you big and strong. That's what they bloody well remember, the love you showed them. Now, if you give me 20 years of those 40 back to love more children who can come up and say that to me, I hear your point, but man, I'll take it. Stop him.
Yeah, I can't see you.
Again.
Yeah. But anyway, I was going to just make a reflection of what Goethe said. We were talking about copyright and so on, and maybe it also has to do with what Annika said. And it is, I mean, it's a new situation when we interact with language with machines. Is that the first time in history we do that? Sort of. I don't know, but I mean, we had to get used to that, and we had to sort out what is the machine doing and what are we doing. But actually, we are sort of cyborg interacting with the machine when we are using it. And I got it's just a reflection. I don't have any answers on what's right and wrong, but I think it's a process that we have to go through and get used to.
And again, Staffan, thank you for that.
I put and also to complicate the question, I put in the chat a work of art. It goes to work of art at Malmö for the moment they have, and it's also based on artificial intelligence, and interesting to look at, just to see the sort of what you can do and what the complexity of this question is, I think.
And
thank you.
And if today, and thank you, and if today does nothing else, but acknowledge that each one of us as a human being has the right to choose and to do what we want, as we go with that process of interacting with the tool of AI and all of the tools that are there, and even the document I'm sharing with you now, and there are 3 of them plus 4, the messages for society. When we look at, for example, something like content creation, which is what we've done simply, AI can give us an incredible way of creating content quickly. It can check all of our grammar and our writing back, and I put links in there. How it can proofread and provide feedback. It can even grade. It can even design a syllabus online for us like a MOOC. Not only that, but it can do all of those in a way that is quick and efficient, but I don't believe takes from me as a professional, because I need to check it. I need to put my mark in it. I know my students, so I know what's relevant to them, but it can help with homework. It can answer questions. It can help children with problem solving, concept reinforcement. I'm not going to waste your time on these, but these are what I'm giving you out, which are the ideas of how it can help with research. And again, I'm choosing biology here. How can help with language learning? The beautiful app, which is Say Hi, Say Hi. We in Ireland right now have schools which are 60 to 70% Ukrainian students, and they have no English in schools where everyone can speak English or Gaelic Irish. And we're using these apps as immediate translation for the parents and the students to let them feel at ease in the school and mindful. And it's allowing us to communicate with them utilizing AI technology. To me, that's massive. And we can do things at speed, grading, lesson planning, content creation, and all of the public biases are there. We have to acknowledge that. But there's also risk of decrease in original and critical thinking. I put that into the first document that I sent you. And thank you, Annika, for that. I put that in down at the bottom, which is the convenience, but there is a risk of decrease in original and critical thinking skills. But the only way that that can be taken care of, and I'll share all of these with you. So that's why I went through it quickly. I'm not going to bore you. They will all be shared afterwards. All of these need to be looked at, i.e. ethics, responsible, professional. You are professionals. You are responsible for those people in your care. And you must make the decision of what is right and wrong for you. And this is all the first part of today is about, because the next day I'm looking forward to getting in more. And what I would say to you is, please, I hope everyone got the opportunity to go in and look at the questions on where you are with AI. We'll send that out again. Go in and sign up for Chomsky. Have a bit of fun. Go into OpenAI and have fun in there, because we haven't even touched. If we were climbing Mount Everest today, we are about 1 million miles away from it, looking at it at Google Earth. And that's all we did today. But this is what you asked for in your Excel, to have this. Is it this? Is it that? Each one of you needs to go away and say to yourself, okay, I like this. Here's the documents. We've even put out lessons for society and for education, for governments. I've written up all of these things for one reason only. And Annie, you know this, and Staffan. And I want to thank again the team at Malmö, particularly with projects like Unity, projects like Shelfie, where we're developing resources. By the way, we'll share these websites with you. And Unity, and all of these projects which are like webinars that we're doing now and multiplier events. All of these do is give you an extra sandwich to eat if you're hungry. But if you don't want the sandwich, you can give it to someone else who's hungry. Just don't throw it in the bin and destroy sustainability citizenship. Look at the sandwich and say, am I really hungry? And if you wish to eat it, eat it. And if you don't, acknowledge it's there, because no one's going to stuff it down your mouth. And that's all today's first webinar of 2 is about. Opening the door. So with just a few moments left on this, Annie, and is there anything you would like to say? Because all the documents I have, I will now share with you. I look forward to everyone getting a sharing of all of these. I ask you to go in and try Chomsky, which, by the way, is just a beta. But believe it or not, it has the nanny running around it, and we will be working. And so proud that Sweden was the first country to ethically pass this. And Malmö has so much to be proud of in being part of this, because Sweden, in many ways, like many other countries, has had to do its part in how society has changed so radically. And I'm using that word in its open sense, so radically. And many of you from the countries you come from, and I even see we have a participant in Chechnya. My God, in Ireland, we can only understand from 900 years what your life has been like in so many other countries. But we are present now. And I would say to each of you, breathe in and breathe out. And we are who we are right now at this present moment. And no bloody AI can do that for us. Where we open our eyes and go, look out a window if it's close to you and say, that's lovely rain I have in Ireland right now. And Staffan and Annie have been over here long enough to know what I'm talking about. Or to look around your walls and see the artwork which is there and go, that's what makes you human. So Annie, last words to you or anyone else, please.
Yes.
I would just again go to the chat where Andra agrees.
Please.
And that it's the professionalism of the teacher or the human being to actually make the right question. So it's, again, I take it as I interpreted this, it's our choice, but also the skills we have, the knowledge. Could you, before I end this, give us a teaser for Wednesday?
Here's your homework, ladies and gentlemen, particularly Annick and all the teachers. Here is your homework.
Hey.
I want you to go into an OpenAI, and I want you, something that's relevant to your life, to ask it a very simple, straightforward question. And then I want you to add to that question to go in more detail to something that is important. So, for example, if you're a physicist, I want you to go in and say, what's physics? And then maybe go in and say, how is physics relevant to K-12 schools? How can I teach the topic? And try to catch the AI out. Ask it a crazy question. So one, Choose a topic that's relevant to you and create a lesson around this for maybe your child at home or your niece or your nephew. Secondly, I want you to ask the AI a really crazy, stupid question. And onwards, I want you to come back and tell us what it was. And then those two things, what I would love you to do. But as for the next lesson, the only teaser I can give you is this. We now need to start to look at where AI is going on Wednesday. We're now going to take a deeper dive into generative AI. We're now going to take a much deeper dive into the complicated areas of how this will affect society, climate action, sustainability, and how it is relevant to society as it stands. For example, a sample. How is AI saving the rainforests in Brazil right now? What is it that it is doing? Because there is no planet B. How about hydroponics, outdoor schooling? What are we doing at this moment? So we're going to look at AI now, as in where is it going in the sense of affecting outside but education in sustainability, citizenship and society, and how is it going to evolve itself into the future? So first is your lesson, simple. Second one is the idea of something there. And the third question is, I'd love you to ask AI, where is it going to be in 20 years from now? And I want you to tell me on Wednesday about what you have found out. And I want you to come in to debate this topic of the ethics and whatnot. So Wednesday is now we're looking to what we have and where we're going. And by the way, I want to acknowledge that at the end of the day, all of these companies, and Google is coming out, as we said, with its whole new package soon, that where we'll have everything that's out there and all the other groups put together in one. And I wonder who's going to own that. But it's a question of we're going to be asked to pay for that. But we don't have to, because there will always be open AI, free AI there. And it will be as good as anything else, except you may not get a Formula One car. But sometimes there's nothing wrong with driving around in a Volvo, or there's nothing wrong with driving around in a ladder, or sometimes getting up on a donkey's back or a yak's back if you're going up Everest. You use the mode of transport. So that's what we're looking on into the next piece. We're now going to go from now, having looked at your questions, having hopefully answered what you put in, to now say quo vadis. So I'm going to do an idea of, is it Bugs Bunny used to go, what's up, Doc? Is that, am I right? Was it Bugs Bunny Stafford? What's up, Doc? When he used to chew the carrot. So that's the question we're going to ask for Wednesday. Where are we going? Quo vadis. What's up, Doc? I'd love to hear your ideas of where we're going. So play around with it. Answer the question. Get into Chomsky. It's beta. Get into OpenAI. Sign it up. Have fun. And then come back and see, have you changed any of your minds? Otherwise, all I can do to all of you is thank you for your patience. I hope you have a lovely weekend. And we will send on all of the documents to you within the next 30 minutes. And each of them has its own part to play. And if you did nothing else but put them away, you have a repository of links that can enable, engage, and empower. 3 words, the 3 E's. I'll finish with this. In the 1990s, Charles Handy had this book about management, change management, knowledge management. He spoke about the E factors. And then in 2000, the E factors were to do with pills and tablets and drugs. Hey man, give me an E. And now we're back into the 3 E's: engage, enable, and empower, on the 3 C's of education: consciousness, completeness, cognizance. And I could keep going for C. C, the whole aim of education is to love the complete child, irrespective of who he, she, or they are, so that, and now I'm going to be really controversial, someday they'll be your pension. And as Staffan said, what are those skills? Let's talk about them next week on Wednesday. Anything else you wish to say before we wrap it?
No, we want to keep you for 5 minutes.
Yes, and everyone, if you want to, at this moment, if you want to turn on your cameras for a picture, we would love you to come on if it's possible, Annie, for a smile. just to get a picture so that Annie can put them up somewhere. If everyone wants to turn on their cameras or anything, if you freely do, please, we would love you to do so. And I would love, so in 5 seconds, Annie's going to take a picture. So if you can turn on the camera in 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1. Annie, wait a moment. So someone coming in? Katrina, Kalispera, my darling, how are you? So Annie, are you ready to take a picture?
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah.
Wonderful. And I'm going to take one more once again on 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you all so much, and see you very soon again.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
See you
And
again.
I'll stay on.
Yes, please.
See you
Thank
all.
you.
Topperman and inspelning.
Daithi, can you please stay on?
I am indeed staying on.
Och
Thank
stoppar man
Gå in
inspelning?
där igen på 3 pricken
Aha. 3
och stoppa
prickar.
den.
Vad tusan är de 3 prickar?
Andra, thank you very much for all your inputs. I hope you can join on Wednesday. You've been very active.